watching Parker Success Academy with Dr. William E. Morgan.
Hello, I'm Dr. William E. Morgan, and this is Parker Success Academy. Today I have a very special guest, Dr. Mark Bronson. Mark, thank you for joining us at Parker Success Academy.
Oh, it's certainly my pleasure, Dr. Morgan. Thank you for having me.
Now, you have a very special role in the state of Texas, and what is that role?
Well, I'm the president of the Texas Board of Chiropractic Examiners, and that's probably what you're alluding to.
That's what I'm alluding to. Besides being a great chiropractor and also working with the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners. But we're here today to talk about a great victory that we had. It's something that's been going, a battle that's been going on the 5 years that I've been in Texas, and that was the TMA, the Texas Medical Association's lawsuit against the Texas Board of Chiropractic Examiners. And we had battle upon battle, and maybe you could kind of frame what's happened over the last several years to bring us to this point, and then what's happened recently.
Well, the lawsuits against the board started, I think, over 15 years ago, actually, somewhere around there. This particular suit was originated 10 years ago, and it started as the case that we call the VONT, V-O-N-T, vestibular ocular nystagmus testing. And then it went from there to including our ability to diagnose, and then further went to the board's definition of subluxation complex and musculoskeletal system, both of which the board included the terms neuro and nerve related in those. And so the TMA challenged that in filing a lawsuit against us.
So, and of course, that's fundamental to chiropractic, being able to diagnose, being able to treat subluxations, to being able to treat neurological conditions. I mean, it's foundational, not just for the practice of chiropractic, but for Parker and for the other college in Texas. We can't fulfill the obligations to teach our students if we can't include neurology or the fact that the vertebral subluxation complex has a neuro component to it. So this was foundational. There's a point of like, do we get to stay in Texas? Do we have to move to another state? But also that if Texas falls, then Louisiana and then other states would fall. So it's been a big battle, but we've had this battle. We've gone to the court 3 times. We've lost twice, and then it went to the Supreme Court. And what happened there?
Yes. Well, as you mentioned, we have been in a national spotlight on this, and I've been a part of that spotlight for the 4.5 years since I came on the board. And I'm referring to meetings with the FCLB, that's the Federation of Chiropractic Licensing Board, and the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners, both of which organizations I attend meetings. And so I get to meet with the board representatives from all of those states. And I've actually given some lectures or updates on the topic. So here we are. And I think what you just asked me to do is to bring us from the time that the suit was filed to where we are today. Is that what you said?
Affirmative.
Okay, so the suit was filed 10 years ago, including VONT, a specialized form of testing, which was at the time done by, I believe, less than 5 chiropractors. And so the rule was that they had to have specialized training to do this, and this very specialized testing with instruments. And then the diagnosis and the neuro component. So from there, we had to appear in district court in Austin, and we lost that case. And we appealed it to the Third Court of Appeals. And when we went into that appeal process, we knew, and TMA knew as well, we feel sure that whoever lost in the appeal was going to take it to the Texas Supreme Court. And as it turns out, that's exactly what we did. We were a bit surprised about the appeals court ruling, and we felt like that it was not justified. And then we knew that we had to take it to the Supreme Court because, as you just said a minute ago, diagnosis and certainly the nerve component to subluxation complex and musculoskeletal system is fundamental to chiropractic practice. And without that, we can't do what we do. And in fact, the very identity of chiropractic is lost. So there was no question we would take it to the Supreme Court. And so at that point, we filed, and the Texas Chiropractic Association came on as co-filers. What is the correct term? And so once filed, then we just had to wait until the Supreme Court decided if they would review the case or not, because it's their decision on if the case has enough merit to do so. And so then that's when other interested parties around the nation, such as the NBCE and the FCLB and Parker University, Texas Chiropractic College, there were several others who submitted amicus briefs, and those are pleas to the court to ask them to describe to them the impact that this adverse outcome would have on our profession and on the people that we serve, which are certainly in the millions. And fortunately, the court decided to review the case, and we knew that once they did so, that we had a good chance. We actually gained insights that of the cases that the Supreme Court decides to review, 60% have been overturned in recent years.
Wow.
So coming into it, we knew that we had, speaking of odds, a 60% advantage just by the fact that they decided to hear the case. So that increased our confidence level a bit. And then just by the sheer weight of the evidence and the impact that it would have on the profession, we felt confident. And I'm sure that most of us tapped into divine intervention as much as we could. And we're grateful for the outcome.
So we had this great victory, and frankly, we had geared up to go down, march down to Austin, and fight this in the legislature to try to get statute put in place. Frankly, I was a little pessimistic myself. Like, okay, all I need this to do is for it to stall the process out till we can get the law changed. But the Supreme Court gave us more than we would have asked for in the law.
We didn't even anticipate the ruling to come out until possibly the summer. At the earliest, we were thinking maybe late spring. So we would be well into this legislative session, and we were hoping, just like you, that the legislature would see it and make a correction.
It's fantastic news. Not only did we get the victory, though, did not the Supreme Court chastise the other two rulings? They basically gave them a spanking.
Did.
And asked the Texas Medical Association to pay the court fees.
I don't know the details on that, but it doesn't surprise me, and I'm certainly grateful for that because this has been a huge burden on the taxpayers and something that never should have happened in the first place, but it did, and so I think that that's justified.
I remember going down and testifying in the State House. I've done it several times. But I remember one day we got there early, and I waited there 13 hours. And all day long, I was hearing the Texas Medical Association versus the physical therapist, Texas Medical Association versus nurses, Texas Medical Association versus veterinarians versus acupuncturists versus nurse practitioners. I mean, they are at war with everybody. They want to see the Texas Medical Association, not all medical doctors in Texas, but they want to oppress the other professions in healthcare and make sure that they don't grow, that their practice act does not expand. Is that your experience?
I was there that day, as you might recall, at the state capitol, and I do remember showing up at 7 in the morning, and we didn't get through with testifying until after 9 o'clock that night. The only people there in the capitol were the janitors pushing the drums around, and us,
And the chiropractors.
by that time we were so nerve-wracked, pardon the pun, that it was hard to get out any intelligible argument to the legislature. But you were there, Dr. Morgan, and you did a fantastic job on behalf of the profession, and I applaud you, and I personally thank you for that.
Well, I was just going to thank you for your leadership in the Texas Board of Chiropractic Examiners and sticking to this and sticking to your guns and doing things the right way for these many years, doing hard things. And that's what we'll be known as people who've done hard things. And you've done hard things and done it the right way, methodically sticking to the plan until victory took place. We were confident that we were right. You were confident, and you led us as our leader basically in this lawsuit, because they weren't suing us, they were suing you and your organization, and you led us through this process, and in the end we were victorious, and it's just a time of celebration. And I just wanted to share that celebration, and for us to bring you here and to recognize you and to applaud you and your leadership. So Mark, thank you so much for everything you've done for us.
Well, I'm very humbled that you would recognize me in this fashion. Thank you for that. It is largely a thankless job that I do as president of the board. So anyway, you got to me there, Doc. My role in coming into this, as you know, the Attorney General of Texas is our representative. Whenever a state agency is sued, then the Attorney General is responsible for representing us. And in this case, the Office of the Solicitor General, who works under the Office of the Attorney General or within it, they selected this case, and it's their prerogative to do so. And when they do, then the Attorney General doesn't have any say in it. So the Solicitor General takes over. So we were assigned a young assistant to the Solicitor General, Ari Kunin, and I went in with my general counsel and executive director and sat down, and I spread my textbooks out and my notes, and we just started educating him. And fortunately, he's a sharp young lawyer who just latched onto this, and he was eager to learn and eager to serve. He respected our cause, and we're grateful for his involvement and his representation.
Fantastic. I remember going down another time, besides the time you and I were talking about, and testifying to the state Senate and explaining how much schooling chiropractors have. And one of the people who'd been, she was a medical doctor, a senator, oppressing us, and we explained the number of hours we had, the number of years we had to train a chiropractor. She was like, I had no idea. So I'm thinking here, she has been battling us tooth and nail her entire political career and never took it upon herself to see, well, maybe I have some justification here. She just was going against us because we're another profession besides medicine.
When you take the initiative to invite legislators to Parker University for tour, that's so important to educate our lawmakers on what we do, the level of our education, what we have to offer the public, and how we interact and cooperate with the other medical professions. So I thank you for that.
Thank you. So is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience about the Texas Board of Chiropractic Examiners? What things that any platforms that you'd like to present to us, or explain other things about what you do at your job?
Well, as you know, our primary roles are to make rules that supplement statute. So the statute is the ultimate guide, and that what we have to go by. And we write rules to clarify and make it meaningful and functional for our licensees, chiropractors. In addition to that, we have a role in enforcement. And so when people break the rules, then we have to investigate that. So we have an investigative staff and we have an enforcement committee. And on that enforcement committee within the board, there are 2 chiropractors and 1 public member. And that's a statutory committee and a statutory function of the board. In addition to that, we are obligated to describe the education that's necessary to be licensed and continuing education. So with those different roles that the board has, that's where I assign committee members. And right now, I'm here to tell you, I'm so happy and so proud of our board. We have 9 members who are so eager to serve. Sometimes I have to rein them back a little bit and slow things down just a bit. But hard workers, people with their heart in the right place. The chiropractors, the public, 6 chiropractors, 3 public members, all of which don't earn anything for serving. They're just serving for the purpose of protecting the public and serving our great state of Texas. I think when you asked, is there anything that I want to share with everybody? I hope that all of our licensees will take the time and effort to review the rules. We've had a major rules renovation project going on the last few years, and we're coming to the end of it now. But when our licensees take the 4 required board hours for CE, for relicensure, I hope that everyone takes a course where they actually go through these new rules in detail and consider them. We get questions, calls that come in every day, some of which are already written in the rules and some of them that we have to clarify. So, and that's my other point. And then I'll let you take the interview where you want it. But we hope that anyone that has a question about a board-related issue, if something is okay or not okay to do in practice, then I hope that they'll call the board directly. Just call us up instead of guessing on it. Otherwise, it's fine to go to reliable sources, the state association, the colleges, all of whom we try to keep abreast of current rules and what's acceptable and what's not. So whenever the colleges and the associations have representatives that come to the meetings, then they should be a good resource for our licensees. Otherwise, anybody and everybody is invited to attend our board meetings. Right now is a great time. You don't have to travel to Austin and walk into a high-rise building. You just sit in comfort of your office and sign up and attend the meeting.
Well, thank you very much. And again, to remind everybody, your job is to protect the people of Texas. And
yes,
where our job here at Parker is to educate chiropractors for all 50 states and other countries around the world. So we're under your jurisdiction as far as our clinic and our school. So when I bring things up, some people think I'm trying to be the bad guy on a few things, but it's a rule. I'm trying to protect the students and those teaching our students, for example, adjusting, protect them from losing their license or their ability to ever practice in the state of Texas. So the whole nation, by the way, has been watching this. In fact, I've got many friends overseas who've been watching with what's going on here, what would happen. So the eyes of the world have been upon you and upon this battle. And it's a time to celebrate. We're so blessed to have you here. And just as a person, I would like to thank Dr. Mark Bronson for everything he's done. As a university, we'd like to thank you from the students and our alumni. We thank you for everything you've done for us. And we're so grateful that you would take the time to kind of explain the ramifications of this great victory today. So thank you, Dr. Mark Bronson.
Well, you are welcome. As far as the ramifications and what we're celebrating exactly, what we're celebrating is that we can continue to practice chiropractic according to the science and philosophy that we have learned in school, that we've grown up with, that we accept as the truth. And we don't have to change. We don't have to submit or reduce anything that we've been doing. And so, again, Dr. Morgan, we appreciate you and Parker University for all of your support through this lawsuit, and we celebrate with you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Mark Bronson, and thank you for listening to Parker Success Academy.
Thanks for watching another episode of Parker Success Academy with Dr. William E. Morgan.